welcome to this week's episode of The Payload, Bear v Grenade's weekly show on everything Overwatch. Now, we've got a bit of a bumper show this week, so let's kick things off with a look at one of the biggest events of the year, BlizzCon. The annual celebration of all things Blizzard is now just 2 days away, and we can't wait to see what's in store for our favourite game. First things first, if you aren't lucky enough to be in sunny Los Angeles, don't panic. BlizzCon will also be streamed in full online. However, you can only watch the opening ceremony and esports content for free, although most of the big announcements do usually happen at the start of the show. But if you do want to watch the full weekend, you'll need to buy a virtual ticket, which comes with an epic Winston skin as well as in-game loot for other Blizzard titles. Onto the schedule, which sees 7 Overwatch events spread across the 2 days. Friday's presentations include a talk from Overwatch developers about what's next for the game, a look at the making of Junkertown's animated cinematic, and, most importantly, the opening of an enormous loot box. Then, on Saturday, there'll be a trip through the Overwatch archives, a panel with the game's voice actors, a streamer showdown, and a look at the Overwatch League. Of course, the most important Overwatch event at BlizzCon will be the World Cup, with semi-finals taking place on day 1 and finals on day 2. 8 countries qualified for the global tournament: the United Kingdom, Sweden, Canada, Australia, China, France, South Korea, and the United States. Unfortunately, it looks like the US drew the short straw, facing favourites South Korea in the very first round. Nonetheless, it does look set to be a really exciting showdown between the best teams in the world, so make sure you tune in at twitch.tv/playoverwatch. The World Cup will also show off Blizzard's new Spectator mode for the game, a much needed addition for the very fast-paced esport. In a developer update, the Overwatch team announced a couple of big changes, including team uniforms, complete with home and away skins, as well as matching user interfaces to help spectators quickly understand which team they're watching. Each team's colour palette will also extend to in-game animations, like weapon effects and explosions, making it really obvious which team each hero plays for. In addition, a new third-person smart camera will automatically follow the action, smoothing out movement for a steady view. Now, third-person shots have been pretty controversial in previous tournaments, so we're interested to see if this has much of an effect. Finally, casters and observers will have access to an interactive 2D overlay that provides clear, real-time information about what's happening across the map. They'll also have the ability to replay moments through an edited kill cam feature, allowing them to change camera angles and slow down or speed up the action. Of course, Spectator mode will be in full force for the upcoming Overwatch League, which is picking up pace with the announcement of 5 more teams. First up, as was rumoured last week, the Seoul team will be called the Seoul Dynasty, with their black and gold branding also featured on an exclusive League skin for D.Va. Back in the USA, the New York team have announced they'll be called the New York Excelsior, or NYXL for short. Complete with bold blue branding, the team's graphic logo represents different cultures coming together, with Lucio similarly decked out for their team skin. Also in blue are the Boston Uprising, whose name reveal came with a vivid blue and yellow skin for Soldier 76, in honour of the Boston flag. In addition, Optic Gaming's team will be known as the Houston Outlaws, with a black and green skull made from 2 guns as their logo, making McCree a perfect choice for their team skin. Across the pond in the UK, Cloud9 have announced the London Spitfire, whose name is a nod to Tracer's backstory in the Royal Air Force. Newcomers NYXL wasted no time introducing themselves to the league, tweeting out this cheeky image along with the caption, "No legendaries this Halloween." Elsewhere on the internet, game director Jeff Kaplan took to the forums this week to talk about what the Overwatch team are currently working on, as well as addressing a few community complaints. Toxicity in the game was high on the agenda, with Jeff revealing that recent improvements have seen the number of actioned players steadily rise, although he did decline to give specific details in case players use them to game the system. However, he did announce that the team are hoping to provide direct feedback when somebody you reported is actioned by the end of the year. The Blizzard VP also promised competitive play changes, particularly in matchmaking, saying, "We have long and short-term plans for competitive that should hopefully improve the experience over time." Of course, the hero currently on everyone's mind is Mercy, after a recent rework gave her the ability to resurrect players every 30 seconds. Now, it's safe to say the effect of this has been pretty significant, with many arguing that the change has completely unbalanced the game, making strategy far more difficult. In a post on the forum, Jeff agreed that Mercy is now too powerful, saying her resurrect ability currently plays out like an ultimate rather than a secondary ability. That explains the changes that went up on the PTR shortly afterwards, which saw the ability significantly changed. Resurrect now has a cast time of 1.75 seconds, which can be interrupted if Mercy is stunned, knocked back, or hacked. Her movement speed is also slowed by 75% during the ability. However, whilst Valkyrie is active, Resurrection will still cast instantly. Another topic mentioned was Hanzo's Scatter Arrow, an unpopular ability that's often been accused of needing no skill. However, the team ruled out a nerf, saying that Hanzo would be anemic without the attack. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there are any concrete plans for the character anytime soon, although Jeff promised it's being heavily discussed. One character who will definitely be seeing some changes is Ana, after Jeff announced a damage buff for the healer, giving her an extra 10 HP per shot. It's a much needed move given that the recent changes to Mercy and the rise of a D.Va-Winston combo in competitive have seen the healer's usage rate plummet. And if you're an Ana main, you won't have long to wait for the change. It's currently being tested on the PTR, thanks to positive feedback from Blizzard's competitive group. Speaking of the PTR, there's currently a small but significant change to Winston being tested. From now on, you'll be able to tell just how long his barrier has left, enabling Winston players to let their teammates know before the shield goes down. And while the bubble doesn't usually last that long, the change brings him in line with Orisa and Reinhardt, who both have health bars on their shields, as well as D.Va, whose defense matrix has a resource meter. It also looks like Winston might be getting a new highlight intro, as spotted in a virtual ticket trailer for BlizzCon. Wearing his exclusive BlizzCon skin, Winston rolls towards the camera before rather angrily activating his Tesla cannon in what looks like it might be a homage to this moment in Overwatch animated short Recall. And finally, we're in love with this adorable video on YouTube, which reimagines the Overwatch universe as a Pokemon game. As you can see, a huge amount of work has gone into the project, with scenes from both Pokemon and Overwatch recreated in incredible 16-bit detail. And while Tracer's the main character, you'll be pleased to hear a few other heroes pop up too. Roadhog as her rival, Junkrat as Professor Oak, Mercy in the medical centre, and Torbjorn, D.Va and Genji as the starter Pokemon. Of course, if you want to know who Tracer chooses, you'll have to watch the full video on iDevil360's YouTube channel. Well, that's all we've got time for, especially since Season 7 has just kicked off. We've got placement matches to get through. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you next week.